about the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from 3 undisclosed locations. It's Real Spoilers.
Some lash, some not so lash, some not so lovish.
Yeah.
Lash?
Lush.
Lavish?
It's
I was
been
like, you trying to say lavish? What are you trying to say here?
It has been a long couple days here in this house.
So it's Real Spoilers. Kevin will insert the number here in post.
Oh, I don't even know for this one.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe 827, I think.
I don't know. I forgot to bring my show prep sheet,
Oh, great. It will be wrong next week.
and I won't
then.
have the League of Show Shares. So,
Oh, no.
so
This is 827, but I can't help you with the show.
Yeah.
Winter break
So-
has affected us all, my friends.
yeah. So it's our recap of 2024. So let's go around the virtual table, and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. So before we dig in, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast. You can find us while you are there. Be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/realspoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Shares because we are hoping you will share an episode. Normally, we would read your names here, and like I said, I did it all, and it's on my computer at home, and I am at work. Oh, I disclosed the location.
Oh,
Son of
Well, they'll never figure it
Yes,
out.
because I've never said where I worked on the show.
You're good. Well, next week, I guess you've got the episode figured out. It's going to be an entire episode of Show Share.
There we go. Yeah. If only we had that many.
Hey, Nosferatu did pretty
it
well. on
did.
YouTube
It did.
this week.
That's shocking. You never know. You never know what's gonna
You never
hit.
know.
Well, Mufasa did like 500, 600 in the first week, and then Nosferatu did almost 1,000 in the first few days.
Yeah, it's wild.
So last two have been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also, don't forget we have a Patreon, patreon.com/realspoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you extra, and it helps the show out. Obviously, there's lots of costs involved in something like this, and so it's just a way to help us offset the costs, and we do definitely appreciate that. And then, of course, don't forget you can watch all of these over on YouTube, unless, of course, you're on YouTube, in which case you already know that, and pretend like I didn't say this. So
And put your favorites of 2024 in the comment section.
yeah,
down below.
tell us how. I'm sure they'll tell us how dumb we are.
Absolutely,
for-
I have no
for
doubt.
liking something or not liking something,
Yeah.
or not having seen the exact same movies they saw.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and so so anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall I don't know where to start because normally we start with the movie. Well, who am I kidding? We've never started
Yeah,
with the movie.
that's ridiculous.
But but theoretically, that's where we begin. But now we just have a list of stuff. I didn't create a list, so I don't
First of all, I think I'd like to look at the box office real quick
Yeah.
if we could. I think it'd be interesting to look at the 2024 worldwide box office. Number one, I think this was a huge surprise to me. I did not expect this to do this well, but Inside Out 2 made more money than any other movie in the entire world. And
Wow. By
it's
how
the same
is it by a lot?
Same for domestic too.
Yeah.
So by quite a bit actually. So Inside Out 2 made $1.7 billion worldwide almost, and domestically it made $652.9 million.
Isn't it
so?
the highest grossing animated film of all time now?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's wild.
But yeah, so I mean, breaking record after record, and I'm on record when we reviewed that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember talking about it. I mean, I liked it more than the first one. I thought the first one was kind of a snooze. I know I'm in the minority there, but I didn't really care for the first one. I thought the second one was a blast. So love seeing that success there, but was really surprised by that big of a number. I mean, that's just phenomenal. But the number 2 movie, Deadpool
That's
and
what I
Wolverine,
thought.
which
Yeah.
obviously huge movie, the highest grossing rated R movie.
Yeah. Yep.
of all time now.
Yeah, I think it was The Hangover, and then this beat The Hangover.
Okay, but so this made $1.33 billion worldwide. So it's just crazy to think about that. If you think about this being a rated R, extremely violent, foul language, all that stuff, and it was only $0.3 billion, $300 million less than a kids movie, which obviously has the huge mass appeal. I mean,
that movie did it the right way. So they bring back the only Wolverine. They don't recast it. They bring back Hugh Jackman. They give you the fan service that this movie can get away with. Yeah. Like if this is in a different movie, we're just like, oh God, like it's so ham-fisted. But that one did not, you can get away with it in that because of the character of Deadpool.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's firing on all cylinders. Yeah. It's hilarious. But that box office to be a rated R, the first rated R MCU movie, right?
Oh,
of all time.
Yeah.
It's the first one in the actual MCU. But yeah, $1.33 billion, almost 1.34.
I think.
Go ahead, Tom.
My theory on why it did that much business, and not it was a lot of fun. Like but you're right. The R rating would normally scare people off, and I think it didn't because there are two previous ones, and your kids have probably already seen them, and so you know what to expect, so you're not as scared off by it. If your kids have already, like, even if you're not letting your 14-year-old normally go see an R-rated movie, if you're like, well, I mean, he's already seen the first two Deadpool movies, like, this one's not going to be radically different in terms of shocking my parental sensibilities. So okay, like we're not getting that toothpaste back in the tube. We might as well just all go see it together. I think that's why it did almost family movie numbers.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's like a buffer because it's Deadpool. Like it's
Well, I also think it's Disney MCU, so people know that it's not gonna be like XXX nudity, full penetration on screen. You know what I mean? It's rated R, but it's the comic booky violence. It's going to be the words that everyone's heard before, right? So I think there is kind of a middle point there where kind of know what to expect from it.
Yeah. Is Sean Levy? So is Sean Levy now like
the guy?
Well, is he Ryan Reynolds' guy?
I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's been.
Was it
Fall Guy?
No, Free Guy.
Free Guy.
I'm sorry. Free Guy.
The Adam Project.
This one, the Adam Project is the other. Yeah.
And I know I messaged you guys about it, but I just watched This Is Where I Leave You from 2014. Yeah. It is, those coming of age like teen comedies that came out in like the 90s. It is like that for adults. Like it's a fantastic movie.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I would be remiss to skip over this one. Real Steel, one of Tom and I's
That's
favorites.
a great movie too.
I wonder if that's part of how they got Hugh Jackman to cave on this.
Oh, maybe.
I mean, yeah.
Well, maybe those divorce papers probably.
Well, for sure, it definitely had a Ghostbusters vibe to it in that regard. Like,
right.
Or is it Ghostbusters 2?
Ghostbusters
that's
2.
Why Bill Murray came back. Yeah, that he was just like, oh yeah,
I need to get
Ghostbusters 1 was because he wanted to make Razor's Edge, and so the deal they made was, if we'll make Razor's Edge if you do Ghostbusters. And then Ghostbusters 2 was he got divorced, and he's like, sure could use a cash infusion. Yeah.
But he did those Night at the Museum movies. Like, the guy has hit after hit after hit.
Yeah. Did he do all of them?
He did at least 2 of them, but I don't know. Maybe he didn't do a third one, but he did a couple of them. So, yeah, I mean, the guy obviously, I mean, he's bankable. He makes decent movies. I mean, I think all of his movies that I've seen have been at least fun, if not really good. I mean, some of them are excellent.
It is interesting to see these top tier actors start to like pair off with directors. You've got Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie. You've got the Rock's got a guy that's like his director, Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds.
I think you can blame it, if so to speak, on algorithms. It's like Moneyball, right? They figured out there's enough data now to where they just kind of know how things work. And if you put this actor with this one, and then you promote it with your tequila brand, and then you give a free ticket on Mint Mobile, and then you do this and that, and then you're going to have viral videos on TikTok, and you're going to, I mean, it's like, I feel like there's just some combination where people work well together, they get into a rhythm.
I think the working well together thing makes sense. where it's like you just have a rhythm. He showed up on Raw last night, so that was fun. He's no longer a heel. He's a good guy again.
Oh, really?
That didn't last long.
Yeah, I know you got to. He's probably got a movie coming out soon.
Yeah, Moana too, or Moana.
Got to turn it. Oh well, she's a little late on that.
No,
one.
the live action one.
Oh, well, he should have done it for the second one, I think.
Maybe.
Although him being a good guy wouldn't have fixed those songs.
No, those
so I
songs
guess
are
there's
terrible.
not much you can do. But I'll stop and say Deadpool and Wolverine is one of my top favorite movies of the year.
Okay.
I think it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I remember being at the screening with Tom, and we were actually the rare screening. We were sitting right next to each other, and I remember looking over. I'm like, this is a really funny movie, even from that intro.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
That's great.
I had no idea what to expect. I laughed throughout that movie probably more than any other movie. I think with as much anticipation that it lived up to the hype. I think the action scenes were excellent. Again, it was hilarious. Seeing Hugh Jackman back was great. Plenty of fan service, but it wasn't done in a, like you said, like that cheesy wink at the camera way. I mean, it was there, but the way that Ryan Reynolds delivers it, right, and the way that it's written, it just comes off so genuine, like it's just his personality.
Yeah.
So everything about that movie, I think I saw it 3 times in theaters.
It was an honorable
I went to
mention
the
for me.
screening, Katie, and with Ryan. So like, yeah, I loved it.
It was definitely in my 3A.
Okay.
Like it's an honorable mention.
Just stop me. As we go through, I'm just gonna hit like the top 10 movies or so. But yeah, stop me if one's your favorite. Number 3 worldwide, Despicable Me with 969 million.
That was my favorite of the year. Favorite of the year.
Despicable Me 4?
No, I'm totally kidding. I never saw it.
I never saw it. Tom, did you see the 4th Despicable Me?
I did not.
Okay.
I think I saw the 3rd one, but yeah, no, I didn't see it. I am of my deep and abiding love for Minions.
Minions, yeah, it's surprising.
Once the Minions took over the franchise,
That's where I lost that franchise. I don't know what's a Despicable Me movie and what's a Minions movie.
Well, if it's called
once
Minions,
they're called Minions,
Yeah, but the Minions
those
also
are
had
about-
Gru in it.
well, they did Young Gru in one. The first one,
Rise of
okay.
Gru.
the first one didn't have Gru until like the very last scene. I think he literally said like one word, maybe, or one sentence.
Yeah, it was I Have Such Doubt.
Yeah, it's a callback to something we didn't say on the show. And then in the second Minions movie, they did like Young Gru.
Okay.
Which I think that was right. That was an end run, so they didn't have to pay Steve Carell, right? Did he get?
No, I think he still did the voice.
Did he still do the voice?
He did like voice modulated. Yeah, it was still Steve
It was
Carell, I
Steve.
believe.
Okay.
But no, the first Minions movie was terrible. The second Minions movie, The Rise of Gru, was actually fun. That was a fun movie. The third one I saw, and it was very forgettable. And I think my excitement for that franchise has tapered off. I think that they're fun if you catch them. I mean, from what I've seen, but I don't know. I don't get as excited for them as like when the first one came out. I was like, that's really funny.
Just wait
Yeah.
for those
Second-
live action remakes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
only
coming.
a matter of time.
Don't worry.
It's only a matter of
Yep.
time. So anyway, the 4th Despicable Me movie came in at number 5 domestically with 361. But yeah, I mean, almost $1 billion on that one. And amazing how much animation, again, because kids movie, of course. But number 4 worldwide, 960 million goes to Moana 2. So man, the thing made a lot of money.
Not even close.
And that was a Disney Plus TV show.
But we talked about it on the show. Is that
$1 billion?
Yeah, they did that with planes, where they're just like, hey man, we'll just throw this in theaters and see what happens, and they made like 500 million on it.
That to me is unbelievable. 1, because it's not very good, but 2, to just find $1 billion like that. I mean,
I would say so they can projects, but that's the other company. That's the other one.
Well, no, Disney does it too, unfortunately.
But we don't hear
Or
about it.
They
That
pull
Batgirl-
a lot of stuff off streaming.
That Batgirl
But
thing
I
was
think
like,
Joe means when they film an entire movie and then don't release it.
yeah,
Oh,
you like
you know,
Batgirl.
like
it's
Batgirl.
it's a
No.
done movie.
no, they only do that for LGBTQ agendas.
Also,
That's it. They
okay,
don't
I
do
did
that to
want to
whole shows.
touch on that.
Nope.
No,
Bo-
it's not bad. So I saw the character models for this new Spider-Man show. I don't think this is tying.
jeez.
I don't think it's tying into the MCU Spider-Man.
They said it's not.
Oh,
It was
okay.
originally. But
So
it's
then
not
I
anymore.
okay.
Because they probably want to use a Harry Osborn that maybe doesn't look like that or something. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to be beholden to what
I
the
was under the
cartoon's
impression that this was like the time period that we see where he doesn't have a suit yet, and he's kind of like, and Tony Stark's like, "What are you wearing?" And he was like, what? It's the suit that I made, right? Like, I thought it was the time period between that. I didn't realize this was a whole different Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think originally they were trying to do this synergy, much like James Gunn's now doing for the DCU, where he's trying to tie everything together. So, but then, whatever, something changed, and they decided, well, we'll just live on our own. Maybe the plans for MCU changed, therefore the show wouldn't work.
I saw the character model for Mary Jane, and I was like, well, that doesn't look like Zendaya at all. That is, that is an Asian person.
Well, she's not Mary Jane Watson.
I guess that's.
MJ,
can you
remember?
imagine?
It's
Can you
different.
imagine if they try to like somehow have to for that next movie? I think the rumor is that it's going to be Gwen. Is that the love interest will be Gwen, which makes sense. But like if they try to somehow be like, no, this is Mary Jane Watson. The other one's just
There's another MJ.
Yeah, this is a different character altogether.
I know that whole thing's so weird because I wish they just made her
Make her Mary Jane.
I don't know why. I guess they did it.
It was
probably
one
to
of the
avoid some
weird
kind of
out of all of the
controversy or
weird
something.
things that they have done. To
I
me,
know.
that is one of the weirdest.
She's MJ, but she's not Mary Jane.
Yeah, she's not Mary Jane Watson.
Yeah.
We're gonna call her
but
something else.
Maybe we should touch on the animated character models so we can get these YouTube views.
Oh
up.
yeah, let's do it.
But, no, it's so silly. Joe, you had a point to make about like what Harry Osborn looks like and why does it matter?
It doesn't matter. There are. Look, I won't deny that if they cast a black man as Superman, that would be difficult for me to not see, but like wrap my head around, because that character was always white, right? And just it's not integral to the character, but it is just the way that he has always looked. If they cast an Asian guy as Dick Grayson, wouldn't bother me at all, right? Like I don't like that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't even cross my mind. So the fact that that it's an animated character that is a black man, and people are freaking out that they've.
Well, that's the other question.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Are they a black man?
I don't know. I
Right?
don't
That's-
know.
So it's just a whole, again, it's just the anti-Disney, anti-woke,
Yes.
right, going nuts about it. And it's so exhausting. And I was telling Blake the other day, I go, you know what? I just hope they flip everyone's race and gender, because you know what? At this point, I don't care. Just do it. It's so outrageous how much energy and time people put towards this stuff that now I'm just like, you know what? I hope they do it to every single character, and I just don't care anymore.
But they've got and the voice actor for Harry Osborn is it Coleman Domingo?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's like that dude's
I didn't know
like
that.
a heavyweight actor.
dude,
yeah,
yeah, he's
he's
like
legit.
winning awards left and
Yes,
right.
he
for
is the.
Sing
I
Sing.
believe he is the voice of Norman Osborn. So it's like, I mean, I would love to see that guy as Norman Osborn in the MCU. That would be insane to get that level of an actor.
Because he's a villain.
Oh my god, that was the other thing. The guy who was the guy that got kicked off X-Men 97.
Who?
The guy who was like the showrunner for X-Men 97, and Disney
Oh, I
fired him.
can't
Whatever.
remember.
He has
Yeah.
now accused Marvel of race baiting by changing all of the white villains to black characters.
Oh,
And it's like once he starts rattling them off, you're like,
DeMaio.
ooh, you're
Bo DeMaio
yes.
has asked Marvel to stop race swapping white villains
Okay,
into
but
black characters.
and normally I'd be like, all right, whatever. But look at like his points,
Mhm.
where it's like Baron Mordo was changed to a black guy.
Mhm.
Norman Osborn was changed to a black guy. Electro was changed to a. So he does have a list of
that's
like,
interesting.
okay, you're making some decent points.
Yeah, well, that's
whoops.
interesting.
Well, some of it's probably because the people that are upset about the race swaps don't get as upset when
Correct.
you make it a villain.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if it were Superman, like you said, and you're a comic
It
book
wouldn't
guy
make
with
me
a
mad, but
decent
it would
head on your
it would just be
shoulders,
like,
right?
man, that okay. I need to wrap my head around
but
that.
that's you. You're even questioning it, and it's you who's sensible about these things.
Yeah.
So think about what the general public. But I'm to the point, and I know that. I mean, Tom and I have seen a lot of theater shows, and it does young, old, different races. I mean, the casting is generally colorblind in that regard. So I think that we're just used to seeing that more often in the theater world. But yeah, at this point, I just don't care anymore. There's so many more pressing topics in the world, like, you know, the world ending, basically, that I could not care less about this gender type stuff. I mean, if it's something that's super, super specific to the character, like you said, integral, then maybe I would be like, well, that just doesn't make sense. But then I guess I could just change that too. I mean, there's different interpretations. Stories change over time.
Absolutely.
I'm to the point now where when people get so mad about this stuff, remakes, whatever, like I may not care about or really want to watch remakes or whatever, but it's like, well, then the other one exists. Just
don't watch the other one.
Stories have changed over time for so long. And I think back to as long as the Disney company existed, basically, and remaking fairy tales, which are all based on folklore and things from whatever, the 1400s or 1800s, or you know what I mean? It's like those aren't original stories. And look how much they've changed from Grimm, or what's the other one? Whatever the other fairy tales are.
Mother Goose and Grimm, yeah.
So anyway, the point is stories have changed and been adapted over time, and people only really get outraged when it affects the one that they grew up with and love for whatever reason.
Right.
But they don't even realize that one is, unless it's wholly original, that one has been changed. So why are you mad? Aren't you mad about that? You know, and
yeah, if the internet existed in the 30s, people would be like, these songs are ruining Snow White.
Look, buddy,
Yeah.
if you knew what's coming your way in 2025, you'd be all right with that animated movie.
Why is there a talking cricket?
You're 100% right. But we've just come so far, like with the outrage and everything. It's evolved into this thing that is so toxic and so stupid. And then I just think about, man, I wish I had enough free time. Not that I'd use it like that, but imagine having that much free time to dedicate your life to things like that.
Yeah.
When if you paid even 1/100th the amount of energy to researching topics that are important in the world, or human rights, or anything.
I think Tom hit it right on the head on our last episode, where he's like, nobody reads the article. It's all about headlines.
Right.
So when the
They're just
headline is
outraged,
like,
outraged.
Norman
if the
Osborn,
people who were that mad about the race swaps put that much energy into politics, they wouldn't have needed to storm the Capitol.
Isn't it weird how that didn't happen this year? Strange.
I think it had something to do with the solstice or something.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. I'm sure that was the
Well,
thing.
well, this one wasn't stolen, Joe.
Oh, you're
It's
right.
different.
You're right. Sorry.
It's totally different.
Because it was somebody else that was leading the storm in the Capitol. Never mind.
So number 5, Dune Part 2, $714.4 million over worldwide, and then let's see, domestically $282.1 million, so quite a bit overseas. This is another one of my top 3 favorite films of the year.
I didn't see it.
Geez, the fact that it's one of my favorite podcast episodes of the year. I really enjoyed doing the deep dive into the books and talking about the differences, even if some people got mad.
They got big mad.
70-year-old book.
Yeah.
It's like the people that didn't get mad because you spoiled it got mad because I thought it was boring. That movie is so boring.
It was all outrage. So if you there's Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, and we're talking about Dune Part 2 from 2024.
Is there a third one? There's a third one, right?
Oh, there's like 50 of them.
But I mean, like, is he working on a third one?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it will be his last one.
And then the TV show on Max.
That's supposed to be bad. I didn't watch that
just
one.
see it on previews.
So with Doom Part 2, they've really, I think, stuck the landing with the Part 2 thing where, if it was bad, then I think the first one would be like, oh, it's half of a good movie, whatever. But if you watch these two back to back, first of all, you'd have to dedicate a couple days. So Tom, but if you watch them back to back, they are one excellent movie. Like the second half is just as strong as the first half, and they go together so seamlessly. And he pulled off a really hard story to tell. As we know, we've got the David Lynch version that is beloved for its own reasons, but obviously financially did not do great.
Was that a TV
miniseries, 2.5 hours, right? Or something? No,
it was a movie.
You're thinking of the sci-fi miniseries. There's a different thing.
Oh, that one's with William
There's
Hurt,
a Dune
right?
series. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
So Denis Villeneuve pulled off, I think, what has been long called an impossible task to really adapt the book and get the source material right. It's incredible looking film. The score is amazing. It's just the second part again really sticks the landing. Joe, you got to check it out.
I will.
But I'm glad to see that it's successful.
Dude, I just watched This Is Where I Leave You
one.
from 2014.
So you're gonna get to it.
Get to it eventually.
So when Dune Part 12 comes
I'll be
out,
on it.
you'll be able
to watch them all.
Okay, so anyway, go back and listen to that episode if you don't mind being spoiled by the whatever they are 50, 60-year-old books.
Kevin, do you I guess you guys are Tom, I know you are or were a big reader. Are there?
I still am. I still know how to read.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Is there?
He's not big. He works
That's true.
out now,
He's a svelte reader.
yeah.
So you guys talk about Dune kind of being this unfilmable project. Is there anything that like is impossible, like that you've read, which is like there's no way you can make this into a movie or a TV show?
Cloud Atlas is one they always said was unfilmable, and I think
thought
they did a really good
I mean,
job.
Watchmen was one that they always talked about. Was like it's
Yeah.
impossible to do this,
And then they just treated the comic book like storyboards.
basically, which is the
Yeah.
only way to
but
do
what
it.
do you? But what do you want?
No,
mean,
I
the
think
thing,
that's
too,
it's the
like-
only way to do that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I love that movie. I think that's one of Snyder's best. And yes, while it's very close to the comic book, it's like, well, what do you want him to change?
No.
Make it completely
Well, they
different?
changed the ending, but the ending that he changed it to makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I like Watchmen, so even though I'm not a huge Snyder guy, but I like Watchmen, so I'm not even bagging on him for it. I don't think any comic book is unfilmable by virtue of the definition that they're comic books. Like
Sure.
the visuals are all right there. Well, how
Right.
could it not be filmable?
But with the costumes, as we found out, I mean, somehow Deadpool and Wolverine did it, but also there's that comedic tone to it and
Yeah.
everything. But like sometimes the costumes,
Those
aren't good, the
costumes in
special
Watchmen, the
effects-
original, like the comic book costumes in Watchmen are ridiculous.
Well, I think the costume aspect of superhero movies is one, you can use CGI boosts to help those costumes
Sure.
out. But also, I think collectively, we've gotten used to superhero costumes on screen in a way.
True.
Like a lot of the reason they thought Watchmen was unfilmable is because they just thought, who's going to go to this? It's too niche.
Right,
And,
right.
And as superhero movies became, the modern day westerns,
right.
and became extremely popular, all of a sudden the references and the subtext and the themes of Watchmen were a lot more palatable to the mainstream than they had been previously. And
Right.
and so but I don't know, when I read a book, I don't normally read it thinking, how would you turn it into a movie?
Sure,
So
sure.
I honestly I don't know that I can't really answer the question, because when I'm reading a book, I'm not thinking about it like that. I'm just reading the book.
That's fair. I was just thinking.
Joe, did you ever watch Salem's Lot?
I did.
that
It
come
was
out?
terrible.
What was it?
Terrible.
Bad?
That
That sucks.
It sucks because like that is my favorite Stephen King book, and the original adaptation is like one of my. It's not great, but I love that movie. Like, and it's tough because they like you have all of this. It's like Tom said, it's all right there, right? Like, and it's not. I mean, the book is not abnormally long. It's not like The Stand or anything, but.
Yeah, it's a very normal novel
Yeah,
length book.
and you've got
Yeah.
two characters that you can get behind, and there's tragedy. It's a Stephen King book, so he makes you fall in love with characters, and he's like, by the way, I'm going to pull the rug out from underneath you, and you're going to have to deal with it. And it just misses the entire
That's
point.
too bad.
Yeah, it was not good.
So that's on one of your worst of 2024.
Easily.
Biggest
I was so
disappointments of
excited for that movie
2024.
too. Like I was super excited. It was trash.
Oh, that's too bad.
It does have a
okay,
Nosferatu in it though.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Those Nosferatus are taking the world by storm,
That's right,
man.
that's right.
Podcast by storm. Number 6, Wicked. Tom, do we need to stop here for you?
Yeah, I thought this is my favorite movie of the year. I thought it was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wicked Part 1?
I've also been very pleasantly surprised that, at least thus far, the internet collectively seems pretty respectful of not spoiling the film
Oh, interesting.
for people who don't know how it turns out.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some surprises in Act 2 or the second Wicked movie, and if you
Wicked for Good.
Wicked for Good.
Wicked, the sequel to Wicked Part 1.
Yes.
Wicked for Good.
Wicked for
Okay.
Good, and I hope they do it with the number 4 too.
I hope so.
So
too.
I have somebody here who saw Wicked for the first time.
Okay.
Whoa.
Do you want to tell them what you thought of the movie?
I thought it was really good.
Have you?
That's awesome.
Did you've seen The Wizard of Oz, right?
No.
You haven't? Oh.
Ask her if she's seen the play, the musical Wicked.
Did you see the musical Wicked?
Yeah.
Like
on-
on
like
on
in-
Broadway, not on TV. Like with real people on stage.
No.
Really? So she was the first time she saw the story and really liked the songs and
Did
everything?
you like all the songs and everything?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did you get spooked out at all?
No, not really.
Oh, good. All right, that was it. Have fun.
Thank
Have
you.
fun at school.
So Wicked made $680 million worldwide. It made $450 million domestic. So I'm most of the box office there, obviously. Yeah, it's solid. You know, like I said, I watched it. We didn't review it, but I did watch it. I did enjoy it. I think it's really well made. I've still got my issues with the splitting it into two parts thing, but for what it is, it's really good. I'll be excited when the second part comes out and you've got the whole thing that you can watch. And I was telling Tom my only concerns, obviously we're talking about the part one here, but for part two is that I think the show's really front loaded. I think all the songs, I couldn't tell you, I told Tom I couldn't think of the name of one song off the top of my head from the second act of that musical. I think they're all front loaded. They're gonna have to really stretch it out because I think there's not a ton that goes on. I mean, there's cute things and tie-ins to Wizard of Oz, but it's just I don't know how they're gonna handle that being a whole movie and if it's gonna play well. But
How much is left is there enough left to tell for a second movie, or are they gonna have to like bump it up or add stuff?
I mean, they're gonna have to add stuff for sure because the second act of plays are almost always shorter than the first, and you know they really padded the first one to make it pretty super long.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how they expand the second part. But again, I mean, yeah, like I remember I was like, Tom, name one song from Act 2, and he's like, I don't know, Defying Gravity Reprise. I mean, it's like, but that's seriously like I don't know what songs there are from the second act. I mean, I love the musical and it's really good, but like all the hits are up front, so it will be interesting to see if they end up doing any more reprisals.
They are
or if
right.
they-
I know.
New songs.
There are. I thought I read 2 new songs.
Okay. I think they have to. They need some hits
Well,
for
and
that second
and
part.
they can't get nominated for Oscars if they don't have new songs.
Original song. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah. So
Sneaky,
anyway, it'll be
sneaky.
interesting to see how they handle it. But obviously, everyone's loving it. It's it kind of did like the Barbenheimer thing, where it's a lot of viral stuff. Their social media was excellent for this film, and people are really enjoying it. So that's cool. Joe, you didn't see it?
No,
Okay.
sure didn't.
I mean, you're waiting for part 2.
oh yeah, I can't wait for part 2.
Yeah.
And by
Got it.
can't wait, I mean not gonna see part 2.
This is Tom. Did you want to add anything else since it's one of your favorites of the year?
No, I
on
just
Wicked?
I was really impressed with
Yeah.
that they pulled it off. Like it's it's the unfilmable Broadway musical.
Yeah, there we go.
but,
hey Tom, you've seen a lot of Broadway musicals. Are there a bunch that you think are unfilmable?
Every one of them
Every one of
is unfilmable.
They can stand on stage and do it, but
Yeah.
there's just no way
There's
to capture
no
that
way-
with a
Yeah,
film
right.
budget.
No way to capture it. But I was really surprised that it worked as well as it did. Transferring a Broadway musical to the screen is not an easy task. I think in a lot of ways transferring comic books are easier.
Sure.
And so I was very surprised at how well this movie worked. And I will also say it's one of 2 movies that I bothered to watch twice this year for whatever that's worth.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I will say the production design is out of this world for that movie. They really did. I mean, with everything, the costumes, the sets, it really felt lived in and magical, and they did a great job bringing the world of Oz to life. So I was really impressed with that part too. I just think I don't like the stretched out 2-part
I agree.
thing, but
Yeah.
that's just what it is. I mean, that's not going to change. They're going to keep doing that, and I think once the second part's out, I'll feel a lot better about it. I hate waiting for, again, when you know the story and also they're stretching it out. It's like, come on,
Yeah,
you
right,
can
right,
do it
right.
at the play, you can do it on the big screen,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see how that second half ends up. But number 7, now this is one that I kind of completely forgot came out. My friend just watched it on Blu-ray the other day, and that's the first time I remembered it. I think it came out in March. Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire.
Yeah.
I think that was a March.
Did that come out the same? Because I definitely have a Godzilla. I couldn't remember. Was Godzilla -1 ?
That was technically December of
Yeah, that's what I
23.
thought.
So
it was
that
on my
just
honorable
barely-
mentions. Like it was gonna be my number 3,
Yeah.
but I couldn't remember when we actually saw that.
Technically, no, it technically came out in 2023,
Okay.
unfortunately. But because it snuck in for Oscars and all
Sure,
that,
sure,
it was
sure.
really out in January for more wide release, I think. But anyway, Godzilla X Kong. Is that
So
how you say
stupid.
that
Such a
name? I
dumb
forgot.
Yeah,
title.
because we made fun of how dumb that was.
Okay, because I'm reading it and I'm just like, that's so weird. Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, $571.7 million worldwide, which obviously those movies play well, the big action movies overseas. And let's see, number 9 domestically, so still made almost $200 million domestic. It was fun. I thought Dan Stevens, he was the best part.
You
That's the
hated
one
that
he's in,
part,
right?
Tom, right?
I did. I
Yeah.
didn't like him at
I
all.
love Dan Stevens.
I do
in
too.
pretty much
I do too.
everything that he does, and I thought that he brought a lot of joy, just humor
Goofiness,
to
just straight up
yeah,
goofiness.
it was fun. Like I want a silly. I don't mind silly characters in these big action movies, and so
I don't mind
remember-
them. I just minded this one.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I understand. So I don't really remember what happens. I think they end
They
up
fight in the like
teaming up
promised
at the
land
end
or whatever
and,
the hell
But
it
who's
was.
the bad? Like what? Who are
Humans.
they?
Oh, was it the
No,
red monkeys, red gorillas?
Was there?
There was a whole nother
honestly,
like group of gorillas that Godzilla had to fight because he had like the power
Yeah.
glove on.
Well, there were a bunch of Kongs that were bad, and then they kind of a little one befriended him. That's
Yeah, weren't they
right.
red?
But they don't fight who's the big bad?
The
in it,
big
though?
bad,
Was
the
there-
leader
was there
of the
another
leader of
big-
the bad Kongs.
Was there?
Yeah, because they go to
Jeez,
like remember they go to
that
like
one's-
they go to like the flip side, like
Yeah,
and they
oh,
go
that was
down
kinda
there
cool
and
looking.
like
that was a cool scene whenever they go to the whatever dimension and they're like floating and like they have to jump on
yeah.
like the floating because the gravity is
Yeah.
like floating.
They were
pieces
in
of
the
ground.
core of the Earth. Remember,
That's
the
what it-
Earth
yeah,
is
right,
hollow.
right,
The
right.
Earth is hollow, and
Yeah,
Hollow
yeah,
Earth,
I,
that's what it-
I love movies where the premise is science is dumb.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it made quite a bit of money. I think kind of forgettable, but I remember enjoying it enough for what it was. It was better than I'll never forget that. What was that? King of the Monsters or whatever?
Oh, the second Godzilla movie
was so
Oh my god, that
bad.
movie was terrible.
The one with Lego Maego and is it Kyle Chandler?
You mean Hal Jordan? You're right,
and Hal
Kyle
Jordan?
Chandler.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Coming in at number 8, another animated film, Kung Fu Panda 4. So the year
Man,
of
forgot
4.
about that.
Number 4 is I didn't see it. Anyone see it, Tom?
Nope.
No, $547 million worldwide. And let's see, domestic, number 10. So almost 200 million. Jeez, it's like clockwork.
But, I mean,
It's like-
well, you
it's-
talked about having a formula, and if you just do the same thing and you get the same results,
Yeah.
like, well,
You wonder why they're coming out with part 4s and sequels. And it's like,
did
you know what?
they
It's
say they're doing a
dependable.
Shrek 5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
okay.
working on it already. Yeah. It's just that is one of the things that's a bummer. I mean, I'm happy that movie theaters are still alive and they're making money, no problem there at all, but I just feel like to the point you made about what we talked about earlier, it's just this rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
You know, right? Find an IP, let's redo it. I mean, like we were saying, make another, what are they making, Labyrinth? I mean,
At least there's a huge. I don't really have a problem with remaking Labyrinth because it's far enough away, right? Like there's a huge gap between that and whenever this movie might get made, right? Just with
Yeah.
Robert Eggers as the director, which is just
I mean, that's
wild.
interesting at least, right? Like that's interesting, but it's just like they're strip mining. We've talked about, I guess, Fall Guy maybe is more
Yeah,
apropos.
yeah.
It's like, why the Fall Guy? Why use that existing IP? Because that one doesn't even have a baked in, unless you're talking about like, the older crowd that maybe watched it on TV.
He was trying not to say me.
Yeah.
Look,
I
I'm
mean, like-
54, and I guess I was the right age when that show was out, but those sorts of shows never appealed to me, and so
Okay.
I
I thought it was before your time.
no,
even.
because it was in the 80s, so
80s.
yeah,
okay. But like Joe and I had never even heard of it. We didn't know the Fall Guy even existed. That's
I
how.
don't know. I knew it existed. I watched.
You knew
I
that was
watched. Yeah, for sure. I watched a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
like Nick at Night.
Right.
So
right.
like all
TV
of those
Land type
old
stuff.
like TV shows were always on.
But I did
Yeah.
too. Like I grew up with I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and I Love Lucy. But
Okay.
I never heard of.
But I also I
First
watched
off-
Magnum. I watched.
First off, Fall Guy ran 81 to 86, so I would have been 10 to 15.
And I would have been
Okay.
4.
And so, but the thing is, every show you listed off, Kevin,
Mhm.
half-hour sitcoms.
Okay.
And so 1 hour dramas don't syndicate well. Like you didn't tend to, and network television was always torn because typically 1 hour dramas did better than the half-hour sitcoms. I mean, obviously there are exceptions, but like by and large, they preferred the 1 hour dramas, but they syndicated the worst because the thought process was people didn't want to sit down and watch an hour of TV, which was really silly because like in reruns, that is, right? Because it's like, they're running in the middle of the day, so you might have time to sit down from 12 to 12:30, but not necessarily from 12 to 1.
Sure.
But they would show 2 episodes of a sitcom back to back and not think anything of it.
Right.
Those were more considered bite-sized. So you didn't see the 1 hour dramas in syndication in the same way, especially like, the big slot for the syndicated shows used to be dropping them in after the news, right? So the news is over at 6. It would run 6 to 6:30, and then you'd have a sitcom from 6:30 to 7. You can't put an hour-long show there. Right. And also a lot of the hour-long shows, especially in the 80s, became more soap opera based. And so the thought process was really like, how do you syndicate a soap opera? Like most people can't commit to like, I'm going to sit down every night at 10 p.m. to watch this show to keep up with it. Right. And so a lot of those hour-long dramas don't live in the pop culture zeitgeist in the same way those half-hour sitcoms do, because once they were canceled or ended their network run, they didn't get syndicated to the same degree that a sitcom would.
Yeah, well, it makes sense then. But yeah, I didn't know it existed before. It was a fun movie and had great action set pieces, but it does just seem funny that they're like, well, we got to find some IP to attach it to, because even if most people in our target audience haven't seen it, it's like, well, it exists out there at least a little bit where someone might have heard of it or can go look it up or there's some interest. And I just fear that we're running into that. I mean, if you look at the movies, we just talked about the top 8 movies worldwide: Inside Out 2, Deadpool 3, Despicable Me 4, Moana 2, Dune 2, Wicked is an adaptation of a Broadway show, Godzilla vs. Kong 4 or whatever it is, Kung Fu Panda 4, Venom 3 is number 9.
Gross. Are you serious?
Million. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, 400. But compared to, I think the other ones made closer to $1 billion. Or Venom: The Last Dance was pretty disappointing by
in every aspect
Venom
of
standards,
the movie.
and by box office, by quality, by. But anyway, no, it eked its way in there at number 9, 476 million worldwide, and then let's see, domestic. Ooh, number 18 with 139 million.
Man,
so it really stumbled.
Foreign box
here.
office saved that one.
Yeah, it did. Because I mean, that's a pretty pitiful take for that one. And let me look at the original one here, because I mean that original Venom in 2018, 213 million domestic, so it made like whatever 80 million or almost 100 million domestic, and overseas alone 642 million, which is more than the worldwide of the third one.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that first one was 856 million.
Apparently the actress that plays Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, I guess got
Kamala Khan because Tom's
he had to go pee. Apparently she got back on Letterboxd and gave Madam Webb a 1-star review.
Oh yeah, her name's not Kamala Khan.
No, the character's name is.
The character name.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, the character's name is Kamala Khan.
Okay, you're okay on that one. Then.
Oh,
Never
thank
mind.
you.
I was like,
oh, the character's name. Gave Madam Webb a 1-star review on Letterboxd, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean it's not good, but I will say.
God!
I believe I said this on our Venom 3 episode or whatever.
No, it was Craven. Craven.
On Craven. Yeah. Madam Webb was so bad it was funny, and it was fun to make fun of. Like, It was so ridiculous. and there
unbelievably
was
bad.
So much material that we had on the podcast. Go listen to our Madam Web
Yeah.
episode. I think that one was really fun. I think our Craven episode was really fun. It is fun to poke fun at these movies because they're not good.
They're not good.
But Madam Web is so bad and so cheesy that at least it's one of those experiences where you can watch it and put in a bad movie and riff on it with your friends, to where, like I said, Craven is like too well done and takes itself seriously, but it's not
just
good.
It's just good
So
enough.
It's
just
I mean,
good
it's
enough.
not good,
No,
but it's
right,
too good
right,
to be
right,
bad, right?
yeah.
Like to be like a bad cheesy movie. And so Madam Web, I think, is one of the more fun movies of the Sonyverse. It's one of the worst, but it's also one of the most fun
Sure.
because it's ridiculous. It's just
It's
absolutely
so bad.
bonkers. It's so bad that it's fun. But anyway, Venom 3 is just bad, and there's not much to enjoy there. And the box office definitely reflects that people are sick of it. So I think it's time to hang that up.
They did.
Number 10, Mufasa the Lion King. Joe, do I need to stop you for your pick here?
No.
Oh.
Continue.
Mufasa the Lion King, $476 million worldwide, which is a far cry from the billion plus that the Lion King remake made.
In fairness, it's not ended its box office run yet.
That's
though.
true.
These are
It's
just
still going.
These are just 2024 totals. It's not going to do what the first one did, but it's not like it's done either.
Right. But I mean, at some point here, I mean, the movie came out around Christmas. We're through the first week of January. Like, at some point, it's got to taper off quite a bit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much longer. It made $5 million. Well, hold on. It made Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, kids are still.
Yeah,
know,
I will say in St.
they're not back
Louis
yet.
we got hit. I guess it was Sunday morning with a pretty wicked
So
storm.
it is the last weekend of winter break. So I would say this is, and the box office went up a tick. So that probably makes sense there. So yeah, it made like $20 million over the past weekend. But with kids going back to school and most people seeing it,
Yeah.
it's been out for 2.5 weeks. I'm guessing it's close to leveling out, but it's going to be around 500 million worldwide. This one, go listen to that episode if you care to. But I do think it's a little bit of a head scratcher where it's like, well, they gave you something original, but
They
first
gave you
one's more
something. They gave you
beloved,
something
so-
original with like heavyweights behind it,
Yeah.
right? Barry Jenkins, Lin-Manuel Miranda,
Yeah.
they did everything they could to make that work, and
And those heavyweights swung and missed.
yep.
I mean, I think it was I think the movie was fine. I agree the songs aren't as great as any of the original
we got
Disney stuff.
Look,
but
the more we work on them,
Yeah,
He's coming
you
around.
And,
Now, wait a
it's like
minute.
you and Man of
Now-
Steel.
it's like me and Man
There's
of Steel.
two.
That's right.
hey,
By in 10 years from now, he'll finally admit those songs are garbage.
Yeah, he'll be like, don't
No,
listen
no,
to
no,
to that
wait a minute.
Mufasa episode
in
because
10 years from now, you're gonna realize how good those
Oh,
songs are. Is what you mean?
no.
But no, I never said the songs in Mufasa are nowhere near as good as any one song in The Lion King. Right, is better than the whole of the Mufasa songs.
Sure.
I mean, we're not debating that. It's just that I don't think the songs were as bad as you guys do, but I get it. They're not as catchy. They're not as good. But this is the problem. We just talked about this. So you have a Disney movie based on an iconic animated franchise that has now gone through, we grew up with it in the Renaissance. There's been a remake that made $1 billion. Lion King is widely popular, but just because this is like a Mufasa movie, people are like, I mean, obviously it still made money, but it's like, they're not that excited. But if they remake Lion King again, I feel like people are going to go to it. It's just this thing where it's like this never ending, people know what to expect. It's safe, and I get it. Theaters are expensive, but it's just like people aren't willing to go to original stuff as much. And so
Yeah.
we're just getting this endless sequel, endless remake, endless IP. Let's reboot Labyrinth, which I just think is so random.
You know something that I thought was weird about Mufasa that you didn't see, and you don't see this
What's that?
in the same way you used to. When the Disney movie musicals come out, there used to always be a song that was radio friendly, and
Yeah. Sure.
and then they'd have a popular artist of the day sing a radio version of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
they don't do that anymore. And
There's no radio.
okay, but you could put it on Spotify,
that's fair.
Sure,
right?
sure,
and,
of course.
And like they don't seem to do that anymore. And
Right.
and I remember
The outro song of every Disney movie had like the big artist singing their
Right.
version of the.
Yeah.
Well, you've got. I mean, I think of like Frozen, right? Like Frozen had Weezer doing a song. They had Panic at the Disco doing a radio version
Brandon
of
Urie doing Into the Unknown. Yeah.
And I remember at the screening for Frozen, there were kids there already singing "Let It Go."
Wow.
They already knew. They were singing it before the movie started. And
because that was Frozen, believe it or not, was like almost 10 years ago.
No,
which is crazy.
And so, but I also think that some of the problem is that they would familiarize you with the songs before you got there, because hearing a song cold sometimes it does take you a while to get to acclimate to a song. That will not happen with Mufasa, but it can take you a while for a song to kind of click in your head of like, but
I will wholly admit, last week during over the New Year holiday break or whatever, Katie and I rewatched Frozen 1 and Frozen 2, and I've admitted this before, but like the second Frozen movie, when we did the podcast, I said these songs are not good. I did not like them because the first ones were so good, and I just could not get into the second ones. I didn't think they hit it. Those second songs are really good. And
from Frozen 2?
Those Frozen 2 songs are good.
I think we even said on the podcast, I think you're right. I think
we both said it.
Did.
We were like,
these aren't very
songs
good.
They're just not as good. But you know what? Now I've seen Moana 2, and I grade on a completely different curve. It's like, give me those Frozen 2 songs. Give them all the awards compared to some of the other stuff we've heard. But yeah, I rewatched it, and I'm like, those songs are bangers, man. They're all so good. And but it took me a while to warm up, to Tom's point. So when we do our Mufasa retrospective, okay, Tom's going to be saying bye-bye to his old feelings.
Never.
And we'll all be brothers.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
It's so bad. It's
Oh,
just
boy.
it's cringe-inducing.
So some other honorable mentions. I'll just go by worldwide here. 11, Beetlejuice, which I found to be a decent sequel that I think that was fun.
I enjoyed it.
Blech.
Yeah. Joe just hates Tim Burton.
That is also true.
Number 12, Gladiator 2, which I thought was really fun.
fine.
And we have episodes on both of those. Bad Boys Ride or Die. Remember
That's
that?
your fourth one, right? That's Bad Boys 4, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bad Boys not
For
for
Life.
but Bad Boys Ride or Die.
How dumb. How dumb is
we'll
that?
We'll never get
Yeah.
over that. We said it.
You
when
could
the
you
third
could
one
even
came
you
out,
could
right?
even
We're like,
change
don't-
the I in ride to a 3, and just flip them,
That's
It's a
funny.
new live die repeat.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, Beetlejuice made $450 million worldwide. Gladiator 2, $450. Bad Boys Ride or Die, $404 million. It was fun. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, number 14. That's one that I think did not get the respect it deserved, because I thought that was solid.
I don't think that entire franchise gets the respect
I
it deserves.
100% agree with you.
Absolutely. That
100%.
trilogy is
That
phenomenal.
because Matt
And
Reeves did 2 and 3, right? He did not do 1.
Yes. 2 and
Correct.
3.
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
and 3.
Okay. And man,
And that whole, because I rewatched them with my wife because she had never seen any of them before we went to Kingdom, and I was bracing her for it because I was like, these sound dumb. She was like, this sounds dumb. I don't want to watch these. I was like, they shouldn't work, and they do, and they're really good, and they're really smart. And she's like, I believe that they could be fun movies. I don't believe they could be smart movies. And
Yeah.
I was like, honestly, they're smarter than they are fun, because they're so smart. They're kind of sad ultimately,
I think they are kind of sad.
And she was totally sucked in.
Yeah.
Like she was
They're
just
so
like,
good.
yeah.
Rupert Wyatt directed that first one with James Franco.
Oh yeah. Okay.
If you're wondering. So.
He who shall not be named.
Oh, is he
What
yeah.
did he do?
canceled?
He got. I think there was like misconduct with students that he went in his acting class. He kind of got. But I mean, when Seth Rogen says, "Yeah, I'm not working with him anymore. I'm done with him."
Oh, James Franco.
Oh, not
I thought
Rupert
you meant
Everett.
Rupert
I'm sorry.
Wyatt.
No.
I'm sorry.
Not no.
Yeah.
We missed that.
No,
that
James
transition
Franco.
there. Okay.
Yes.
Rupert.
We know that story.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we do know that story. Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that
he's a
guy
scumbag.
I can't imagine throwing your whole career away for some. I mean, that goes for anybody. That goes for Kang. That goes anybody. Like just throwing away
Jonathan
your whole
Majors.
Yeah, like just to throw your whole. I mean, that dude is.
That dude was riding.
He's a phenomenal actor. He was in everything. He was becoming an A-list star for this generation. You know what I mean? Like he was a name.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, but again, it's him, it's Franco, it's anybody that does stupid stuff. I mean, it's like why throw
You
away
think
your
you can get away
entire?
with it?
Well,
You-
because they,
yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's-
some people just really want to work with Ben Shapiro.
Gina Carano can't
well,
wait to star in a
your-
new Ben Shapiro movie.
Oh, if that's your goal, then. So anyway, but yeah, that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was phenomenal. You know, the CG.
That always
is some of
worries
the
me
best
is
CG.
because I think Matt Reeves did such a great job. I was worried about that one. This one kind of having a lesser look to it, and it does not.
Yeah, because they
No.
dropped the budget, and
Yeah.
so I was wondering as well, but it
looked great.
and it was also really good. Like
Mhm.
it's,
Yep. Really, really good. Wes Ball directed that one, and
Good for him.
yeah, he's got a pretty solid track record, I think. Number 15 to, let's just say, round it out for our top 15 here. Twisters with 370 million.
None of mine
That's
are in
one-
the top 20. It sounds like.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, I don't know. Twisters, I didn't think it was
Trash.
great, but clearly it was another one of those that kind of took off on social media, and it's got Glenn Powell, and it was.
It was bad.
Talk about dumb movies.
That was a dumb
you
movie.
know? It's a pretty.
Is it
dumb
a sequel?
movie.
Is it not a sequel? Is it a reboot? Is it not? What are we doing? Like, what is this thing?
Oh, what did we figure out?
It's a
with that? I thought
requel. It's not even a requel. It's
is
like
there a character? Is there a shared character though, or did they
no.
put
The only shared thing is the name, like
the Dorothy?
yeah.
But then it's like, but she invented it, didn't she? So that would make it
Helen
not,
Hunt invented it.
Right,
Oh,
but if
oh,
this
I see what
girl
you're saying.
in college invented it for her project,
Yes.
that means that it's just an homage. It's
Correct.
Not
It's actually funny. I was watching.
unless they coincidentally, and now the third movie is the battle for the patent over Dorothy.
Yesterday while everybody was snowed in, I saw a new trailer for the Wolfman, and I was like, oh, you know what?
Oh.
I'm gonna go back and rewatch the Invisible.
Nards or no Nards?
No Nards. Well, maybe Nards.
No
I don't know.
Oh.
it's for the
Um,
director's cut.
It's the director's cut. Yeah, Lee Winnell is gonna,
No, the director's cut is
no Nards. Yeah,
The
sans
director's
Nards.
bris.
But I ended up watching The Invisible Man, and Bella actually watched it with me, and there's the scene when Elizabeth Moss's character is up in the attic, and she knows that something's in the house, and she takes the
paint
paint
scene?
can.
Yeah.
She came out of her chair, and it was the best. And she was like, "Did you know that was going to happen?" I was like, "Of course I knew that was going to happen." But
DSS is on their way.
that's right. Yeah. And even Gwen sat here and
I
watched
think that's
it.
a
She was-
PG-13 movie, isn't it?
I don't think that it is.
No way, is it? Invisible Man?
There's definitely a lot of
look it up.
cussing.
Well, we got computers now,
I guess
so
that's
we
true.
can look this up.
But Gwen actually watched it as well, and she would just bury her head in my chest when she thought something spooky was going to happen. But man, that one is another one that just holds up. And honestly, it does make me a little less freaked out about the Wolfman.
Well, we always knew that, though. Lee Winnell is
Yeah, but
a
then we saw
solid
that
filmmaker.
that character at Hollywood Horror Nights. We're like,
No,
what is
I know.
that?
I mean, totally. But I mean, but before we saw that character, we knew it was Lee Winnell. So
Yeah.
I mean, I trust the guy to a certain extent because I think he's really good. But yeah,
But
just
that
there's gotta
character
be
freaked
something.
me out. Like I was
It
like,
would- and
no.
it's R, by the way. It is R.
Okay.
Okay,
But yeah,
there's got to be more to that.
I
character design.
really-
there has
there
to
has to be. It
Can't be that. Whatever they show.
But that's
gotta be
2 weeks.
Oh wow,
We'll see that.
Okay.
Well, that'll be up on the show in 2 weeks.
That's a January
January
release?
17th, I think.
Wow.
Also, don't
Yeah,
quote
they're
me
really-
on that. Like I'm terrible.
Yeah,
at
you're
dates.
really
Oh
bad.
yeah, hold on.
Yeah, I'm pretty
hold
sure
on.
it's
We've been
January
fooled.
17th, but
We plan our show around Joe's, and then we can't go see the movie. So that's the top 15 of the box office. I mean, movie theaters seem to be back. I'm glad they're making money. They're doing quite well. But what do you guys have for your favorites outside of the top 15?
Tom, you go first.
Sure. Things that didn't make the top 15. Conclave. I really liked Conclave. That's
the Pope one?
It's the Pope one. It looks boring. It's not. Yeah. Like I cannot recommend it highly enough. Like it looks like it's gonna. I mean, it is a bunch of old guys sitting around talking.
Sure.
But it's so well done. It's such a good story. The way it plays out and unfolds, it's really good.
Is this based on anything, or is it just like
no?
Okay.
No, it's completely fictionalized. Nobody's supposed to really be anybody. There's nothing like that. And ultimately, it's a highbrow airport novel of a movie. But it really works, and I loved it. It's the other movie I watched twice this year. And I watched it with with my wife, who said the same thing that I did, which is like, she's like, this looks really boring. I'm like, I promise you it's not, but I get why you think that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch it again if I thought it was boring, and I certainly wouldn't basically make you watch it. And then my son, who's 20, so not exactly the target demographic for a Pope movie,
a religious drama.
right? And he got totally sucked in too, and was like, "Holy smokes, that was good."
But he is a diehard Catholic. So.
And then honestly, the only other one that really jumps out at me is a movie that I really enjoyed and still think about. Smile 2. I really liked that movie.
Yeah, that was on my
okay.
honorable mentions.
Yeah.
See, I almost went there, but instead of Smile 2, I went with The Substance. That's a movie that stuck with me.
That's my number
that
one.
Yeah, that was really good too.
I think that edges out Smile 2. Smile 2 is solid and way better than I ever thought a sequel to Smile would be. Joe and I talked about Smile when we saw it off the podcast,
Yeah.
but loved Smile. Did not think, I'm like, what are they going to do with this? Is it going to be as good? And with the production value, Naomi Scott, her acting
killed
is
it, man.
phenomenal.
She was so
I
good.
said on that episode where it's like, this is not just like good. She's not playing scared well. You know what I mean? But like her acting is phenomenal. Her performance is so good. So that's your number
That's
one.
my number one.
That's
No, wait, no.
awesome.
The
Okay.
Substance is my number one.
Right. But yeah,
The Substance
your
is my number one
of the year. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I loved that movie. That's
It
my
was,
number one
man.
horror.
It's the one that I keep thinking about. It's the one that I have
Yeah.
revisited more than once.
Yeah.
I think I'm glad that Demi Moore won the Golden Globe, which I think are
Dude, that's so
bullshit
cool.
awards anyway. But I'm glad she
But
got
that's
it.
her first acting award of her career.
That's kind of wild, given
Yeah.
how long her career is, and she's had some pretty, you know.
But she doesn't. But a lot of the times, I would say her roles. I mean, she's been in some hit movies, but they aren't as meaty of roles like this movie. She's acting.
No,
her
I think
ass
G.I.
off in.
Jane was kind of the one where she thought, you know, that to me feels like the Oscar bait award
I gotcha.
role, I guess. But yeah, this one she's working her ass off, and she put herself in a position where she got in a bunch of prosthetics that were insane.
And Margaret Qualley too.
Also-
I mean, we can't downplay that.
No.
She looked pretty disappointed when she lost.
You know,
her reaction was, which I get. I mean, because she gave that her all. She was. Both of them were all in.
Yeah.
And I do think it's kind of hard to like dedicate yourself. I'm sure for anyone, like it's just disappointing to pour everything into it. And the awards don't necessarily mean anything. I mean, it's fun to win. Obviously, the movie still exists. It's still a great film, and her performance is amazing. But you could tell her look of disappointment.
I like their little interaction at the Golden Globes, but the two of them together were.
I didn't see that
I'll
one.
I'll send it to you. It's very funny. They're definitely playing off the Substance.
Was Monstro Eliza Sue there?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think
she
she.
didn't
I
make
don't
an
think she made an appearance. No. No.
Same
no,
old Hollywood.
No bleeding boobs.
No,
boobs fall-
Hollywood
yeah.
still isn't. They say it's woke.
Not
but
very
I don't know.
inclusive. I
If
see.
you don't invite Monstro Eliza Sue
Man,
to
that
the
was a wild. That's
award
such a
ceremony.
wild man.
Yeah,
So good.
So yeah, a couple other horror ones that were in my honorable mention. I really liked Late Night with the Devil. I know you guys.
I
mixed on
enjoyed
it.
that up until the end.
Yeah, so that was another one of my favorites, alongside with Smile 2. And then I really liked. I know Tom didn't care for it much, but I saw the TV Glow. Did you see?
I
that,
did not
Joe?
see that. How was that?
That is one that really stuck with me. Like I really enjoyed that movie. I think you should watch it.
It's a good movie. I know it's a trans allegory. I struggled with the idea, spoilers, but that like at the end, it's basically this guy has psychosis.
Don't spoil it for Joe.
Oh,
okay.
It's
No, I
fine.
forgot.
Like,
to
honestly,
I'll
yeah.
stop.
Okay.
I'll stop. I'll stop.
Just watch the movie.
Yeah, and
Just
we'll
watch
talk
the movie.
then.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair
so
enough.
I'm not used to there
anyway.
being. I know you just said you hadn't seen it yet, but I'm just not used to there being a horror movie you haven't seen.
I know that one. That one kind of it came out at a weird time where I think we had a bunch of stuff to see and
Yeah, it's on Max.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give it a look
I
for
saw
sure.
I saw that one in theaters when it came out with Ryan, and like that movie just stuck with me. And we were listening to podcasts and like about the meaning and different things. And I think it's such a personal experience. Like, you know what I mean? It's such a personal story, obviously. And I don't know. It's just a really. I don't know. It's just a really thought-provoking film, and I think it's really interesting. It's really well done. The soundtrack is really good. The visuals are really cool. It's a very, like the vibes of it all. It's a very I don't know if you'd say like neon lit, because it's not like a
The poster
futuristic
definitely
movie,
gives
but
that
like,
look.
but yeah, it's like a neon soaked kind of film where the lighting is really atmospheric and moody and colorful.
It's
and,
not futuristic neon; it's retro neon.
Oh,
there you
okay.
go.
Okay.
It's 80s retro neon vibes. It very much feels like a 80s, 90s, which pulls a lot of inspiration in the story from like Buffy. I mean,
Sure.
you watched Buffy,
Oh, yeah,
didn't
yeah,
you, Joe?
absolutely.
The TV
Yeah.
show they watched, Buffy was the
It had
main
Elijah
inspiration.
Dushku on it. I absolutely
Yeah,
watched that show.
There you go. Is that Girl Next Door?
No,
Is
that's
that
Alicia Cuthbert. I can
Alicia
do this all
Cuthbert,
day,
okay.
man.
I know. Well, because they were both like around the same kind of close time periods. They were both two. of
Bring It On.
those,
I mean, there's
teen-
I watched Bring It On a lot because she was
Yeah.
in that movie.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
certainly cold in here with this weather we've been having.
In the atmosphere.
Do you guys have anything else?
I had Monkey Man was listed as one of my
Yeah.
honorable
Oh,
mentions.
that's really good.
I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
fantastic. If you haven't seen that,
Solid,
yeah, that's pretty good.
absolutely.
And then not Argyle. That was terrible. Abigail was
I
also
liked
also
Argyle.
in my honorable
Abigail?
mentions.
That's fun.
And then for me, I went with obviously we talked about The Substance. Love Lies Bleeding was one that
That was
that's really
so good.
really I think is pretty fantastic.
It's
and
kind of
then-
like if Drive-Away Dolls didn't suck.
That's exactly what that's exactly, man, that movie was such a piece of shit.
I had such a hard time getting my wife to go see Love Lies Bleeding when I gave her like the zoomed out plot synopsis because we had just seen Drive-Away Dolls.
Yeah.
She hated that movie so much.
so bad.
She's like, I'm not doing another one of those. And I was like, no, this isn't like that.
This is a good movie.
Yeah.
And then the third one to kind of round it out was Civil War. I thought Civil War was
Yeah.
one of my favorites of the year. I think Alex Garland did a fantastic job with that movie, just creating like some of the most tense. That scene with Jesse Plemons is one of the most like intense and just tense scenes I've seen all year. The whole "What kind of American are you?" and they're just like, "Oh, what? What do you mean?"
I liked that. There were some really good little vignettes in it, as I think I referred to them on the episode. Like there are moments, there's scenes that are really good. I wasn't as strong on it overall, but I like the idea of it, and there are definitely positives.
Yeah, and then he's got we've got 28. Was it years later? Is that what's coming out this year?
Yeah.
28 years.
Yeah, with he wrote that. He's a writer on that, and him and Danny Boyle coming back to do the third one.
Yeah.
Third one, right? Third one.
Yep, because there was 28 hours.
No, not 28
days.
hours. That's
20 hours
28
later.
days later, 28 months later.
20,
20 the other one is like the
28 hours.
the Sandra Bullock
one.
movie,
Yeah.
where she's getting
That's
where
right.
she's
My
getting
bad,
sober.
my bad. Okay, days later, months later,
Years.
now years
Yeah,
later. Okay,
yeah.
got
So
it.
yeah, and I think if you, I did want to throw out the Christopher Reeve doc. That's on.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
on
I'm surprised
Max.
that didn't make your top.
It's in there, but like I was just thinking of like stuff that I had seen in theaters.
You don't have
it's
to do
it's
that.
so good. It's so good.
Yeah,
It's,
it is really good.
You know, I know that there's all this chatter about who's your Superman.
Yeah.
And
Oh, man,
Christopher
that-
Reeve
that-
it will always be. I don't. And that's not to. I'm not going to take a shit on Henry Cavill or David Cornsweet, but Christopher Reeve will always be Superman to me.
Yeah. That dude, he was
the embodiment of that character.
amazing. Just like the way, and after his accident, what he, the voice he became
Yeah.
for the disabled community. And man, the end of that movie when he's in the hospital and his wife, that was a tearjerker.
No, thank you.
Yeah, that was. I mean, but it's such a good doc.
It's very,
Definitely
very good.
check that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went ahead and bought that one because it was
Oh,
only
cool.
like when it was on sale for like $10 to own or whatever. I'm like, I'm just gonna buy
Good,
that.
excellent.
I had Furiosa was another honorable mention. I
good
thought that was really solid. It's not as good as the first one, but like I think they did a really good job with it. The action scenes were excellent. Chris Hemsworth was hamming it up in a good way. I mean, I really thought whatever he was doing was fun with that one. I really liked the Transformers 1 animated. I thought that was a solid
that was good.
Transformers movie. Seemed like it was going to, when we first saw it, it looked like a total kiddie movie to where like it was just going to be dumbed down for little kids.
It was very much
but it ended up-
the original animated.
Yeah, but with plenty of callbacks to the original series. There are plenty of jokes for the adults too, and really good action and good animation. I thought the animation style was cool. So we've got an episode with Patrick Scott Patterson if you want to go back and listen to that one. But yeah, I mean, then obviously we've reviewed some decent stuff lately. Nosferatu was pretty pretty awesome.
pretty
I mean, production wise, again, with the cinematography and the costumes and the sets and everything, solid. And then I'm surprised Joe didn't have Trap on his top 3, but I guess.
I know Kevin can't stop
man.
thinking about it.
We're going to have to do a retrospective on that, I think. Oh, and we can't forget Heretic, too, is our horror honorable
I mean,
mentions.
that is it was close.
Heretic
It was close
solid.
because that was insanely good. Also, the first
was
Omen,
real.
the first Omen is also it flew under the radar because I think a lot of people were tired of the prequels,
Nunsploitation.
and not even unsploitation, but just like, what are you gonna do? A sequel to the Omen or a prequel to the how? How is this gonna work? Apparently, Tom, I think you find this interesting. There's a movie called like Room 7 that is a Rosemary's Baby prequel.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I just saw a
Is
trailer
it a
for
Max
that.
show?
What's that?
Was it a Max show?
Oh, I thought it was
Or
a
is it
movie.
Max movie?
It well, maybe it. I mean, I don't know.
Is it
it's a
Apartment
Max
7 because it's supposed to
original.
take place in the same apartment?
It's the same apartment from
Yeah.
Rosemary's
Apartment,
Baby. Yeah. So not only do we get a sequel to Rosemary's Baby, but we'll get a prequel as well. But yeah, I thought Heretic was fantastic. It was so good,
Heretic
so
was
good.
really good. I'm trying to think what was the other one. Yeah, Monkey Man was a good call though, because I had kind of forgotten that one, but I loved that when it came out. That was really, really good. That was his directorial debut, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that was solid. Another one, I just 2 movies that I think people should check out. Maybe not the best of the year, but Juror Number 2.
Oh,
Eastwood's
you like
latest
that,
movie
huh?
That essentially went straight to Max. It's really solid. It's the type of movie that 10 years ago would have been #1 at the box office. You know, it's a courtroom drama type.
I do
It's
love
really
a courtroom drama.
it's a really, really cool premise. I mean, not to spoil things, but I think it's known. The premise of the movie is that this guy gets called for jury duty. He's got a baby on the way and a family that he's all in on and getting ready for that. He gets called in for jury duty and realizes that the jury that he's sitting on is for a crime he committed, may or may not have committed.
Oh,
And there's obviously someone on the stand that, you know, they've found someone. They're at the trial, but he believes he might have committed the crime. And it's the, you know, weighing of like, what do I do? Do I put an innocent person to jail? Do
Yeah.
I do the
You
right
keep your
thing?
fucking
I've got a
mouth shut.
family on the way. But really, I mean, that premise I think is phenomenal. Like, I've never heard of it's a great story, and Nicholas Hoult gives a great performance. I was talking about that online the other day. That Nicholas Holt's a guy that seems to be everywhere. I mean, right? He was in Nosferatu.
Yeah.
He was in this one. He
He'll
keeps
be in
showing up in
Superman.
stuff.
he's Lex. He's
Yep,
Lex
he's
Luthor.
Lex Luthor
Yeah.
and in the new Superman next year. And so, like, the guy is working, and I don't think he necessarily gets the credit he deserves. He's one of the hardest working actors out there that shows up constantly, and he's always good. He always gives a good performance, and I don't know why he's not a bigger star, but he's working. So I guess
Yeah, he was really good in what was with Anna Taylor-Joy, The Menu.
Yeah,
He was
The
really
Menu,
good in
he's
The Menu.
Yeah, the boyfriend in
Yeah.
that.
Well, no, he's not the boyfriend.
Right?
No.
What was he in that?
Well, spoilers.
oh.
He paid for Anna Taylor-Joy to go.
Right. But okay. Well, jeez, Joe.
I'm just saying, he's not
Trying
the
to
boyfriend.
spoil it.
I-
Okay. And also, I would say Honora. It's getting a lot of
that was
awards
good.
buzz.
I like that.
I thought that was a really good movie, and that is it Mikey Madsen from Scream 5?
Five Cream. Yeah.
5
No.
Cream?
Yeah. Five. You're right.
Yeah, she's the friend, I guess I'll just say the friend. But I mean, like, I didn't really care for her in 5. I think Joe really liked her in 5.
I liked her in
was like,
5 because okay, this is your spoiler for Scream 5 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She dies the same way in both movies. She literally died. I mean, it's the exact same thing in both movies, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah. So I didn't really care for her, especially at the end of 5 Cream. I was like, the performance was a little over the top to me in a way to where I guess she was kind of harnessing Stu or something,
Absolutely
that
she
kind
was.
of over the top
Yeah.
thing. But her performance in Honora is phenomenal.
She was on a
it's so believable.
She was on a
It's-
show. Man, I
yeah.
wish I could remember. It had Diedrich Bader. It's like their mom is like an aging sitcom star or like a TV star, and she plays like the
Okay.
oldest daughter on that show, and she was really good on that. Like I wish I could remember the name of that show.
Better Things?
Maybe who's the lead actress in that?
Better Things is Pamela and Adlon.
I believe that is correct.
Hannah Allgood.
Yes, is that Diedrich
Okay.
Bader plays her?
Hold on, I'm not. Yes, DJ
Yeah,
Bader
yeah.
is Rich.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a
Better Things.
It's a really
Okay.
underrated show that I think kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah, never even heard of
but
that
she's
one.
really good on
Interesting.
that as well.
Okay, but yeah, have you seen Honora, Joe?
No.
You should see Honora. It's really, really good. Her performance, I think she's the best part of the movie, and she's getting a lot of awards buzz. The movie didn't win anything at the Golden Globes, which doesn't necessarily mean anything for Oscars, but she's won a ton of awards through the different guilds and local critics and regional critics, I should say. And it's just, I would say most of the movie, Tom, would you agree, is like her performance? Like, it's very much a performance-driven movie.
It is definitely a showpiece for her.
Is it like Uncut Gems?
And
kind
it's
of.
very similar to
Yeah.
Uncut Gems in tone as well.
Yeah, it's it's a dark comedy, I guess you could say. Like, there's comedy to
And,
it, so it gets
and a lot of like frantic on the run.
Ooh, I do like that.
Yeah. Well, then you
Okay.
will
Oh, yeah.
like Honora, and you see lots of Honora, lots of Honora.
You were talking about courtroom dramas, and I realized I like them so much that I watched The Lincoln Lawyer,
Oh yeah,
and I was
that's a
like,
solid
oh
movie.
man, that was the movie where I realized I think Matthew McConaughey might be like one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yeah,
Like
he's
he
good.
was,
I mean,
he's good. He's so good. That
between
movie's
that and
not the
True
best,
Detective.
but like, he was engaging.
he can act when he
Isn't trying to
his
catch
mind to
isn't
it.
trying to catch a giant fish in a video game.
isn't trying to chase after Goldie or what's her?
Oh man,
Goldie Hawn Jr.
Goldie Hawn Jr. No, hey,
What's her?
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Not a bad
Yeah.
movie.
But wasn't he in multiple movies with her?
I
with
think
Kate?
so. They kind of teamed them up for a minute.
I feel like she was in they were in multiple because there was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and then there was
Ghosts of
wasn't the
Girlfriends
one-
Past, or is that just him? Because
Hold
he
on,
also
now I
kind of
gotta-
got like pigeonholed into that.
I feel like he and Kate Hudson were at least in 2 movies, maybe 3, but hold on, maybe not.
I don't remember,
looking
but
through his
he was
filmography
he
here.
also kind of got that rom-com guy.
But he was that was Fool's Gold was she the one in
that
I
one's
think?
bad.
Yeah, that's Kate
Yes,
Hudson. So
you're
yeah,
right,
they had
yeah.
at least a couple of them
Yeah,
together.
How to
but
Lose a Guy in 10 Days isn't a bad movie.
It's a solid kind of rom
perfectly good
early
rom-com,
2000s. Yeah. So any other honorable mentions for you, Tom?
No.
Did you Mufasa, right? Mufasa the Lion King. You wanted to make sure people saw it.
Okay, well, here's a good one. What are you looking forward to in 2025?
Nothing.
Oh shit!
The end of
I
having
mean,
to
it's
do this every
Superman.
week.
That's the one. That's the one that
Yeah, Superman. I'm very excited. for.
that's really the one that I mean, the Wolfman, just because that's my favorite Universal monster. I'm scared about that movie because I don't know how if it's gonna suck or not. But Superman obviously is. I'm not saying it's going to, but like,
I don't think it can. I don't feel like it's gonna suck. I mean, unless that is the design and it's just really bad. I feel like Lee Winnell has earned our trust at least.
I agree.
You know,
Upgrade, The Invisible Man
is Avatar is actually on slate for this Christmas time, 2025.
hopefully it gets
Surprised that
pushed
didn't
back.
get delayed another couple of years.
Hopefully it will. And just keep delaying.
I like
it.
those
I
movies.
hate those movies.
I like those. You
I know. I
hate
take that back.
Avatar
I don't hate
movies?
them. I think they're
Oh.
overhyped.
I think they're
Okay.
a snooze.
Yeah.
I like.
I thought the second one was better than the first.
Bella likes it. Bella is a huge
But
fan of those
I-
movies.
They just
Well,
are kind of.
maybe we need to get.
I
another
know. Maybe
Batiste
get a
on
different
this
Batiste on this podcast.
Just trade them out. Well,
There we go.
cool. I mean, 2024. I think
It was a good year.
think
It was a good year.
it had-
I think it was a banner year
Yeah.
for horror. Like horror kicked the shit out of
man.
everything.
Yeah, there's so much good horror coming out, and we've talked about it over the years since we started this show. Lower budgets,
Yep.
you can make horror a lot easier. There's just not as much to. It's not big
You know-
special effects usually.
You know what we haven't seen though, honestly,
What's that?
is the reliant on previous IP. There's a lot of original horror.
But that's
sure,
what I mean. They don't-
Nosferatu and
I think it's because the
See No
budgets are
Evil.
at
Right,
first
it's
omen.
not as risky.
But you don't. We haven't had a Halloween movie. We haven't had Texas Chainsaw.
well, they
They did Texas
that for
Chainsaw
a
Massacre,
while.
Halloween. I guess we have had Scream. There's a
Terrifier 3, one of your
oh
favorites.
god, so fucking bad. But there's another I Know What You Did Last Summer that's coming.
Yeah.
But for the most part, no Nightmare on Elm Street. None of like the touchstone horror icons.
I got.
We haven't seen anything from them.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, look at it. You're getting Smile 2 and Terrifier 3. Like, it's interesting that horror is taken off where you're getting these new franchises like you used to get back in the day, and they're becoming the cooler franchises that are getting the sequels
Sure.
and all that. And I mean, to its credit, as bad as it is for many reasons, Trap is original.
Fuck that movie right in the face.
It's original. You got to admit, though, the
You're right.
production value of that movie
It
is
was
impressive.
dumb, but I enjoyed it.
Oh God, I hated it so much.
It's so dumb, but for some, I think you know how it's just like this quandary of like, how does this thing exist? Like, there's a whole
There
podcast
needs
about how did
to
this get
be
made.
there needs to be a Trapped. How did this get made?
Because it's just like astounding to me that you have that filmmaker and you get that big of a budget
and that
to film a
actor,
real
you get
concert
that actor
with
to
that many
like come
people,
out of retirement, basically.
but the script is so dumb.
So dumb.
Well, anyway, there's 2024. So
We made it.
okay. Well, I guess let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21, and on Letterboxd at the same.
This is Kevin. You can follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett. And I would just like to say to 2024, bye-bye.
Oh, you get out of here.
Oh.
Get out of here. Oh, actually, we should say, friend of the show and rule originator Brad Hyan got engaged in 2024.
Oh,
yeah.
well, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
so we
right.
should say congratulations to Brad. And
But
his
we
lovely
Should we
won't
do a
because of the Brad Hyan rule.
That's correct.
Ah.
Yes.
Yes.
Should we get it? Should we do a live podcast from the wedding?
Oh, my
like we
God. That
joked
would be
about
so
at
good.
Blake's
We
wedding
are-
or
yeah.
whatever?
Well, now Blake's not on the show, so we saw how that turned out.
Oh, so you're saying?
I'm just saying he left
Well,
the
Brad's
show.
already not on the show, so
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's true.
yeah.
So you're saying Brad's going to be on the show if we do that?
Oh, then we shouldn't do it. If Brad's going to be on the show, we shouldn't do it.
So, and you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe, or you can find me on Blue Sky or Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. You can find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon at patreon.com/Real Spoilers. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, you've been warned.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, 'cause we already